And welcome to Tonya Parker, one of our women of wisdom. Welcome to this talk, and thank you for participating.
Thank you for having me.
Tonya, can you tell us about yourself first? Who are you?
Who am I? Okay, well, I am Tonya Parker. I go by many names. A lot of people like to call me Mama T because I certainly have a lot of that Earth Mother nurturing energy. Also, I've been known as Renaissance Woman, Throat Chakra Shaman, and my shamanic name is Iris, the goddess who rides the rainbow between heaven and earth. And so for me, I also call myself a witch, a woman in tune with conscious healing. So it's hard to separate myself from any of that because it's all me. There's healing flows through me, teaching flows through me, communication, expression through writing and speaking, coaching, all of that. And so I live in the Washington, D.C. area in the United States. And I have an amazing family and an even more amazing, well, I shouldn't say more, but I have an amazing chosen family as well. Beautiful spiritual community.
That's great. That's fantastic. Can you tell us a little bit more about your shamanic experience? Because that really interests me.
Oh, most definitely. So I spent many years shying away from it. It's like, well, you didn't go to a certain place and get a certain training, but I certainly spent 6 months um, studying with Reverend Dr. Anthony Farmer, Grandfather Ocean, Rev Bear, in a shamanic healing program. And so during the course of that time, we went through a number of different shamanic journeys. We discovered our power animals. We were in the overworld, underworld, we were all over the place. And we were really learning how to bridge these worlds, this our humanity with our spirituality, and really accessing spirit to help guide us and restore balance, and just to work from that place. And so one of the journeys that we took was to discover our shamanic name. And when I received Iris, I was like, that's not sexy. People were getting names like, Dragon something, and all of these whimsical, mystical, amazing names. And I got Iris. And for me, I was thinking very flatly that, well, that's a flower, that is a name, but I'm not sure of the meaning. So of course, in true Rev Bear fashion, he said, do some research on Iris and you will feel into and know what it is for you and why spirit gave you this name. And so after doing some research and coming across the communications goddess, and it was like a ding, 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 of course, because I've been called to work with throat chakra energy. I spent the first part of my career as a psychotherapist. I trained to become a massage therapist. I got the tight necks and shoulders. I got the people who wanted to express themselves better. That's who I attract in coaching. And I even was a public speaking professor for 7 years. So just a number of ways of expression. I am known as a word witch by many people because of my facility with the English language and how I can intuitively see patterns with words and letters. And that's why it can be challenging to beat me in Words with Friends and Scrabble.
It's beautiful. So when you say you've been defined or you've been identified as a word witch, what is the magic about words?
For me, it's interesting because I found that I have partnered with um, folks whose first language is not English. And it's not any other foreign language that we recognize. It really is spirit language or spirit speak. So English isn't the first language, but for me, it is very clearly my first language. I have an ease with it, a facility. Words come to me easily. I'm jazzed up by them. I'm turned on by them. I love learning about them. And I'm also very conscious about how I use them because, I also come with this Libra energy. And so relationships are important to me. And I'm very heart focused. So I want to make sure that I take responsibility for how I speak my words, the tones that I use. So I do my best to speak the truth and to speak it lovingly. So those are some ways in which words come to me. And there's um, people often come to me to express things in certain ways. They say, you just have a certain way. I want you to put it in your words because you find a magical way of putting the words together to express what my heart desires.
That's beautiful. I just wanted to ask you something that came to my mind right now, because last night I was watching a video of one of those motivational speakers, and he was
Mm-hmm.
talking about the fact that one of the levels of love that we actually have to achieve is the one to speak our truth, regardless of the consequences.
Mm-hmm.
So it made me think, how do we express ourselves and our truth in a way that is loving? Because this is exactly what you were saying before. Sometimes I find myself, for example, saying what we call white lies, because I don't want to upset the other person. And I still feel that I haven't completely revealed my truth. And this person that I was listening to, he was saying that basically when we go into the thin layers after we pass, there are several dimensions that we go through, and every dimension is capped by love, a different level of love. And apparently the different, like the passage from the dimension number 2 and the one number 3 is exactly this, which is to speak your truth in a loving manner, but still be true to yourself. So can you enlighten us on that?
Well, I will do my best. First, I'll preface this by saying that I truly believe we teach that which we need to learn or to know. So to be called to work with throat chakra energy definitely has shown up for me as I am in a continual process myself of working on myself. So I am in a continual process of speaking my truth lovingly. And it has taken decades to really work on that. And I have found some helpful tools. And one of them is to place my hand on my heart. And when I place my hand on my heart, I'm a Reiki master. So I'm into energy and I can't lie to my energy. And I can't have my hand on my heart and tell a lie, so to speak. You know what I mean? It's like my
Yes.
truth meter. And so I have to be able to speak my truth, but it also places me in a position of compassion. When my hand is on my heart, I tap into that energy. So the truth telling, compassionate energy is tied here because part of what this expression here, we are expressing what is here and bringing that through. So for me, this is my reminder, this is my ritual, my just my cue to speak from that place. So I've had to have practice, and I have messed up some stuff. And so it calls for me to take ownership of my actions and of my words and to fess up at times. And that doesn't feel good, because if you really want to maintain a good relationship with this person, this community, this, company, what have you, whomever it is, you want to be in integrity. And it doesn't feel good if you're holding this energy knowing that you didn't speak your truth.
Yeah.
Right. So for me, it's easier to, okay, let me tap in and let me say it. And it may not come out sounding flowery and pretty like I can do other words. Stringing them together, it might feel a little awkward, but it darn sure is so much better than going back after the fact and admitting that, okay, I didn't tell the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. The cleanup is worse.
And you were talking about the compassion, and I would probably add also the word humility. So the taking responsibility of what we do, also for the other people that we are talking to and we are expressing our truth to. And if we probably use these three: love, compassion, and humility. I really love the idea of putting your hand onto your heart, which I do often, and I think that it's an automatic gesture for people that are about to say something that is very important. It's core meaning for them to put their hand on their heart, because very often in our society we are using too much of our mind, and our mind doesn't understand love. So it is important to connect to your heart and feel that energy and let that energy express itself, because love in a way can never be hurtful. Is that right?
Right. Love itself is not hurtful. I agree with you there. And, as an air sign, relationships are important, yes, but we also can be up in our head. So putting my hand on my heart allows me to drop down into my heart more because I can be head focused. And so doing this is helpful, and pausing too, because, having an active mind, I can come back pretty quickly with the responses, but then I don't want to have to go back and, oh, well, wait a minute, that wasn't quite what I meant, So taking that moment, taking that breath to really consider it, drop into my heart, hand on heart, will be a much better, much more loving, much more truthful and thought out response than just giving you something off the top of my head.
Yes, absolutely. Tonya, you are a writer as well. You published a few books, and there is an anthology that you're working on at the moment with a group of witches.
Yes.
And can you tell us about that project? How did it come to your reality?
Thank you. Thank you for asking that. I'm going to reference my friend and mentor, Reverend Anthony again, Rev Bear, as I call him, years ago, when Witch came forth for me, when Throat Chakra Shaman came forth, he always tells me there's more. There's more. He's that voice that's always saying there's more, it's deeper, because I can look at things and it's like, this looks good, this sounds good, this makes sense, but I have to continue to live life and experience more. So by the time COVID went through, I mean, I think that was just a purifying time for a lot of people and a lot of energies. And when 2022 came around, it was that mighty portal of 2/22/2022. Remember that? When that
Yes.
came through? And that's when I received from Spirit that I was writing this book, this anthology. And the idea was at the time, I was to do a program with women. I had coined the term in my book years ago, Diary of a Witch's Daughter. And when I'm writing books, part of it is a very conscious process because I have facility with words. Part of it is an automatic writing process where I don't have a lot of memory of it and I receive information from spirit and form. So this acronym came forth, Women in Tune with Conscious Healing. That's the meaning of witch in that book for these characters. And so there was more. There was more to be done with that. And that was years ago when I first wrote that book. And so it came forth in 2022 that, I was to work with women, help them to get in tune with their conscious healing, amplify that, expand their practice, learn different aspects, all sorts of things. And part of that was we were going to write a book together. So funnily enough, funnily, is that a word? Funny enough, I guess, what came forth was the directive that the book was to come and the program may come, I don't know, put on hold, but it came forth to help usher me to the book. So the book really became predominant. It's like you were to write this book, then I hear it's to be 33 voices. And these are women from all walks of life who are now um, owning this word witch in one way or another. So the full title is Witch Voices, Women in Tune with Conscious Healing, Remember Their Truth and Reclaim Their Power. So just the process of it was to be in this space of reclaiming the truth and empowering ourselves. And I, in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, this is great. There's so many women out there who will relate to this. We can help turn this concept of witch on its head. Over the centuries, it's gotten a bad rap. And, women have been disempowered. We've been Bibled and beaten and burned and banished out of which, we need to reclaim that word and that energy because we need to connect with ourselves. We need to connect with Source. We need to connect with Mother Earth and with each other. We need to fine tune these gifts and return to these ways, and that will help bring in divine feminine energy, help to rebalance what's been happening, right? All of these things, lofty goals. And little did I know that this would become a personal challenge for the women who said yes. I am, it's been, I'll say that you are one of the authors there, and you were one of the very first, if first or the second, to turn in your submission months ago. But that could have been last year, actually, and the submission deadline kept extending because as women were coming on and they were doing this, they were encountering, their shadows. They were encountering these things that were coming up either around the word witch or around their journey. And so it has been a beautiful, I'll say, blossoming, witnessing all of the women as they face this. And there have been some who have made an active choice. This is too much for me right now. I can't face this. I don't want to face this right now. I'm encountering too many blocks. Thank you for this opportunity. And then there are some who are like, you know what? This opened the door. I feel so empowered. I'm coming out to the world as witch. I'm writing my own book. There are at least 5 of the 33 who are like, okay, this is turning into a book now. you know So yeah, quite a process.
It is amazing because in a way, when we usually think of a book, we think of something that has to be written and then presented to the world. But in this particular case, the book will be just the cherry on top of the cake, because everything that happened before and everything that is happening now for all these women is much more important than the final product of the book. There is a journey of the soul. There is a searching of the message that we all carry within, which is happening. And it's been guided by one of the most amazing people on earth that I know for doing that, which is you.
Oh, thank you so much. I feel blessed. You know, I have all these mirrors around me. You all are amazing. I could not have asked for a better group of authors, of sisters. What's come forth has been amazing. Connection to past energies. You know, I feel like past witches who've been um, tormented and disempowered and killed, and also they're rooting for us. They're on our side with this project. And so it's been clear that, okay, I need to make sure I'm always honoring them. We do this in their names. You know, it's for us and it's for them. And, you know, there's information that says, you know, when we heal ourselves, we're also healing, you know, 7 generations back, 7 generations forward. I truly believe that we are healing the generations of women who were branded a witch, or who were working their gifts, their healing talents, or standing in their power. And what they went through, we are here to heal that, as well as those who are coming after us.
Hmm. When we talk about healing, well, first of all, can you just give us little snapshots of the healing journeys that are in the book? And let's start with that.
Oh, definitely. So, you know, for some people in the book, they experienced severe trauma from a young age, whether it was physical, sexual, emotional trauma. Um, they weren't attended to. Many of them recognized that they had gifts from an early age. And so they were forced to, or encouraged to, just push that down and not be their authentic self. So essentially, their voices were taken away from an early age. Um, there were people who, you know, just were going about life and realizing that there was a disconnection from what they were feeling in their spirit and what they were hearing in, say, a religious institution. Um, just so many different journeys. You know, some stories I cried, some I laughed. You know, it runs the gamut. Many people have overcome addiction within their family or for themselves, of some form or another. So all of the stories, however, are told in such a way where we don't see victims. You know, we see the victory, and we see the transformation that has taken place for them. And by all means, not everyone is in this place of, "Oh," but you know, we've gotten to this place where we're not in the victim vortex anymore, where we're just caught up, and we can't live, you know, leave it. Um, but eyes are opened, hearts are opened, paths are opened. People have found community. They don't feel like they're the only one. They feel empowered to move forth and to share their immense gifts, because the gifts are amazing. We have um, people who may call themselves shamans. They may call themselves intuitives. We have an African medicine woman. We have a Sangoma, someone who's becoming a South African medicine woman. We have mediums and sound healers and Qigong priestesses and folks who may not necessarily identify as healer per se, but they use healing energy. They use their magic and the work that they do. You know, we have other priestesses, birth doulas, death doulas, or end of life doulas. We have all sorts of coaches and Reiki practitioners, Reiki masters. So people are definitely drawn to energy, people who are drawn to the earth, people drawn to crystals. Yeah, helping others. That's definitely a key in there. So many of you all, and many of you, it's amazing. You know, you were the first to talk about sound and that vibration. There are several of you who resonate with that and so speak to sound in some way, shape, or form, music, and how that comes forth through them.
You were talking just before about the difference. You said that some of them might not identify themselves as healers, but they are healing themselves. So what would be the definition of a healer for you? And does the healer need to be healed before it can help others?
Oh, that's a good question. So, I'll answer the first question first because this came to me years ago when I was a psychotherapist. There were some people who were of the school, if you have not walked my journey, I don't want you working with me because you don't understand. However, if I experienced everything that everyone who came in my office experienced, I don't know if I would have had the capacity to ran the gamut of different representations of things that were up for healing. So I think we need to do our work. Absolutely. Because we need to be clear what is ours and what is not. Yeah. So a healer is a person to me who is conscious that there's something that is up for shifting, for transformation. And they are saying yes to the task of being used, of serving as a conduit of some form of energy to provide the healing. That's what's coming forth right now. So many people think you have to traditionally have a particular label, yet they are clear healers to me. You know, you don't have to have a transactional relationship, get paid for the service you're doing. They show up and it's not even what they do, it's who they are. They are the healing itself. They are the healing. I hope that made sense because that
It does make incredible sense. So would you say that a healer doesn't heal someone, they facilitate the healing within the other person? So there is nothing that like someone comes to me and I do something and all of a sudden the miracle happens, but I can help that person get in contact with their own conscious healing. Is that right?
Absolutely. So a healer serves as catalyst. And it really is a misnomer when we say a healer. because it really is like a healing facilitator, right? But the shortcut, because of language, is easy to say, I am a healer, you know? So each person has their own capacity to heal themselves. And that's one of the pieces of information that we've lost contact with, connection with, and many people haven't reconnected with that ability yet. And so a healer can be a person who can help that person connect to that inner ability to heal. Spark something, facilitate something, jumpstart something within them. So yeah, we have tools, we have our medicines, our special juju or whatnot, but the person has to be willing in some way, and has to have an openness to receive. And I'm not talking about, someone, well, on some level, even if there's a car accident, a person's not conscious, they go to the emergency room, they get emergency surgery, that person hasn't been conscious that whole time to agree to the surgery, to agree to any type of healing. But you have to feel on some level, that person's being is saying yes to this, is agreeing to this, or saying no to this.
Yes.
One way or another, because we do have the right to say no to healing that someone wants to facilitate for us as well. So I can get off on a tangent there. So I can go all over the
That's
place.
okay, please do. But what I wanted to talk about, it's something that has been happening to me very often, which is I am helping someone to get in contact with their own healing. And all of a sudden, I realize that their healing is mirroring my place where I need healing. And mind you, that happens very often. I'm also a massage therapist. So sometimes I am doing a massage on a person and I can feel the places in me that exactly need the same thing. So it is like as if the healing journey takes us, because it's always easier to see a problem in someone else than in ourselves. So
Absolutely.
yeah, I see what you need and I'm going to give it to you, but it's very difficult to see it in ourselves. So the healer, in my opinion, is also receiving healing from the person that they are helping, because there is this mirroring experience in a way. Is that your experience as well?
Yes, absolutely. Someone I know has coined the term hello me. I have all those hello me moments, these reflections. And it's like, if I see it in someone else, sometimes it's like an immediate recognition and, oh, that's for me to pay attention to. And then there are times I don't immediately recognize it and I want to go to a place of judgment. And I have to keep myself in this place where I'm curious about, why is this person in front of me? Why have I co-created this person? And so, oh, this is for me too. It's no out there. As one of our witch sisters, Empress Lolita says, there's no out there. What are they reflecting back from me? So when we stay in that place of curiosity, we can see what's up for healing for ourselves. And, the universe, I found, has supported me over and over again. If I miss it in one person, it's going to show up in someone else.
Yes, that happens. And it's also the experience that the soul wants to have. So it's like we are there to experience something for ourselves and to facilitate that experience in someone else as well.
Yes. And, you know, that's one of the reasons I love Reiki, working with Reiki energy so much, because it really does. If you're going to be in it, you really got to believe in oneness. You know, you really have to have that conversation about non-duality and realize that that person on the table is no different from you. I am in oneness with that person, and I am in oneness with the energy that's flowing through me to that person. So, you know, we're all in this dance together. So, yeah, I love being in community in many forms because there's so many rich lessons to learn. There are times when I may not quite see it with myself, but seeing that reflection really can bring it home.
The
Yeah.
mirrors.
Mhm.
Let's go back to the book for a minute, because
Mhm.
as I understand it, it's in its final stages.
Mhm.
The journey is not completed yet, but it's getting there. So what's
Yes.
happening?
So we are getting it together. We have a publishing team pulled together. The idea is, or the intention is, to publish the book, have it to launch on winter solstice. So December 21st here in the Western Hemisphere. And so what we're doing is we're going, you know, like here, I'm talking with you, I'm talking with different places, I'm interviewing authors. And you've been one that I've interviewed on a Facebook Live where, you know, I'm doing what I call cauldron conversations to have people to get to know who the different authors are, who are these women in tune with conscious healing, and to generate interest for the book. I have a Patreon that I've had for a year now that is helping to keep funds going for the publishing of the book, because I put a lot of time into this book, and that takes away from other work. So it's like, okay, I need to keep this rolling here. And we're having a wonderful, right now, working title, Witch Voices Illuminated. It's going to be a super summit happening for 6 days leading up to the winter solstice and the book launch, where every single author is going to be in the spotlight in some way. So we're going to have keynote speakers, we'll have workshops, we'll have panel discussions, we will have Wusa Witch moments, where folks are coming through to do things, lead us through Qigong and yoga and sound healing and crystal healing. And we'll have intuitive readings. And we may also have some readings where some authors may read snippets of their stories for our listeners. And we will have ritual, because we want to make sure that we are doing our continuous healing and honoring the women who walked before us. And so it's going to be chock full of. So we're working on, you know, gathering the information so we can know what our schedule is going to look like, who's going when, who's doing what, all of that. So it's a lot of logistic stuff, which, you know, my air sign is going crazy with, but all in the, you know, all as we continue to edit um, the contributions as they come in.
It's fantastic. You mentioned the word ritual.
Mhm.
How is that ritual? To me, ritual is a key thing in many things that I do. How is it important to you, and why do you think we should ritualize more of our lives?
Great question. For me, I have found it to be an amazing way to focus my intention. Um, because you know, there's so many things that can catch my attention. I can be random and haphazard. Ritual pulls that in. It focuses me in. It helps me to hone in on what I am intending. So it creates this wonderful space of sacredness to bring forth with intention what it is I'm calling in or that I'm doing. So, I mean, many of us do ritual all the time. We just don't call it ritual, but I am doing my best to be more clear and intentional about what my rituals actually are. So I have rituals around my healing, rituals around my prayers, rituals around my money practice, rituals around love. I mean, it's, you know, food. You know, many of us say a blessing before we eat. That's a ritual,
Yes.
right? And the way I cook my food and send healing to my food, it's all wrapped up in ritual. And so we may integrate music into it. I think that's a powerful way to intensify the energy, to amplify the vibration of the ritual through music. We may say things that, you know, have words that we speak. We may chant. Just so many different ways in which we may engage ritual. And for me, there are times when there are steady rituals that are daily, and then there are the special rituals during particular times. And I love also ritualizing, if that's a word, I'm using it as a word, ritualizing around times in which other people are focused on that energy. Case in point is Thanksgiving in the United States. Now, I don't buy into any of that BS around Thanksgiving and all of that, and the pilgrims and the inner Indians and all that we learned. It's like, you know, the indigenous people, we won't even talk about what happened. Okay. But what I like about that time is there is a mass of people focused on gratitude. So for me, I am ritualizing around that gratitude energy because I do believe in the power of the collective. So when others are focused on gratitude, I'm throwing my hat in too. I'm focusing on gratitude and amplifying that because I know it's a very high frequency, it's a highly attractive energy. So that's just one example in which I'll do that.
That's beautiful. That's fantastic. Tonya, what is your Patreon page in case our listeners, first of all, where we can find you? Like if our listeners want to find you, your information, where is the book going, the Patreon page? Tell us about that.
All of that. Thank you. So I have a website, which is www.mbsfood.com. MBS stands for Mind, Body, Soul. That is my company, Mind, Body, and Soul Food. You can find me on Facebook. I am all over it. Um, under Tonya Parker. And I have a page there, which is a witch Facebook page, Women in Tune with Conscious Healing. And my Patreon is Wealthy Witch. And so wealthy is spelled WELL-THY witch. And so that's a way that folks can find me. And they can always email me, Tonya@mbsfood.com as well.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much for everything you do and for everything you are. And I'm really looking forward to everything that will happen in the next couple of months. I think it will be an amazing journey. It's been an amazing journey up to now, and I'm sure that it will be even more of that. And I think that the summit will be an incredible experience for all participating, because it will give really it will be a coming out of the box in a way for many of us.
Yes.
So it would be fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you for that. And thank you for your participation in it and just showing up so beautifully, so lovingly, with humility and humor, and just being an amazing part of the community.
Thank you so much.
All right. Take care.